Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Saglish, aka Sag. I'm bringing you some domination gameplay on Solar on Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. But in all actuality, this is for something completely different. I kind of got away from embarrassing stories. It's something that I want to get back in, and this is my personal experience, as you guys can see from the thumbnail. Your boy's looking pretty fresh. He's looking like he's doing his job, blocking the defender. But anyway, let's talk about some football stories. And throughout middle school, high school, even college, I played football, and it's a big part of my life and upbringing in sports. And so these are two different stories that happened when I was a freshman. Our school was a small high school in North Carolina. We were 1A. Living down in Florida now, some of these high schools I can't even fathom being a part of because they are 5A, 4A, and 5A. That's ridiculous to me. But anyway, this is talking about when I was in JV, or junior varsity. As a freshman, our high school had both varsity and JV teams. And as freshmen, we had people above us who were better than us, and this basically helped us kind of get into high school football without having to be thrown to the wolves right away. Anyway, first up is during one of our conference plays, and if you guys don't know, usually JV alternates whether they're home or away depending on when the varsity plays there. You never really have a varsity game at home and a JV home game the same week the day before. But anyway, this happened during the JV game. I played offensive line. If you guys know basically what that is, we protect the quarterback from getting sacked on pass plays. We run block to get openings for the running backs, and basically we are the unglorified people that makes things happen and make people look good, and that's okay with me. I was a bigger kid. I've always played offensive and defensive line, so right. I played I played right guard throughout my I was center sophomore and freshman year, and right guard senior and junior year. Anyway, with that being said, you play against whether they rotate the defensive lineman out. You usually see the bigger kids and you block them, you get them out of the way so that your guys can do good and you guys can get yards. Well, every play, I was taught proper technique, basically 3 points of contact. I'm not here for coaching, but helmet, hands, inside the shoulder pads. And there was one time I was jawing up with this kid who was about the same size as me, just a little shorter at the time. And I was run blocking him, and then sometimes this happens. My helmet, the way my helmet was set up, basically intertwined with his face mask, so our face masks interlocked with each other. And it was like something that never experienced really, especially like getting stuck there. They were stuck. I mean, it looked like someone gorilla glued us together. And so after the play was over, we're still going at it, and then finally we were like, all right, let's go, trying to get away from each other. We realized we're stuck, and we're just trying to get each other's face mask off, and then it's like the crowd's like, oh man, these guys are really going at it. They're talking junk to one another, in which I was very, very bad about talking junk to my opponent. And it's just who I was at the time. I thought of myself really good and talk junk. But this wasn't the case. People thought we were jawing each other, trying to fight. And but what was really happening, we were just trying to get away from one another to get in the huddle and get our next play. Well, the refs are like, break it up, break it up. And they come running in, and we're like, we're not doing anything. And so the refs are like, what's going on? And we told him we're stuck, and he's like, all right. So they grab each face mask, and they try to wiggle it apart. Not the case, not going to happen. We're still stuck there, and by this time it's funny to us, so we started laughing. So what the refs ended up doing for us is having to take our chin straps off, and so that we each can have our helmets removed from our heads. And what happened was everybody finally in the crowd were just quiet, wondering what's going on. And the refs removed the helmets of each, like, respectively, our heads, and held the helmets up, and everybody was like, yeah! No clue why everybody was yelling as far as, like, they were, because the guy was literally holding up one helmet, the other one was stuck there not moving. So they were like, oh, okay, it's explained. And the refs are sitting there still trying to get it apart. Two of them going at it. They can't get it apart. And these are grown men trying to get these things apart. And finally, one of them looks at the other. He's like, I got an idea. Puts the helmet on the ground and kicks the other one. And finally, they lodge themselves away from each other. And we each get our helmets respectfully to one another. And we go at it. We go back to the huddle and the game resumes, and everybody's like clapping and stuff. So that's a little embarrassing to be a part of. It was actually a really good game. After the game, I went up to the kid. I was like, hey, that was pretty funny. And afterwards, each team gives the other team high fives, regardless of the outcome, to show sportsmanship, which was a really big thing. And I ended up following him after we each gave each other a high five or whatever. And I was like, hey, look, man. That was a great game. I really respect, you as a competitor, and that was really awesome. So, definitely had a moment of sportsmanship after all that funniness that went down. My dad in the car on the way home was like, I didn't know what you guys were doing. I just saw you yelling at the guy, and I thought you were about to punch him. And he's like, I was like a little bulldog in high school. I'm not the biggest guy in the world, but I was mean. So my dad thought I was getting in trouble with this kid, and he was wondering why we didn't break it up. But yeah, that was the case. We got it straightened out, and he actually had it on film, and so I'm sure it's in the back somewhere in one of his cases of my old JV game where he got stuck. So I wish I had the footage with me now, because I would share it with you guys how funny it was. But that's not the case, and that's my first story. Helmets got stuck and basically had to get 2 referees to kick them apart so we can continue playing. Another thing that happened during JV. My buddy Corey, we talked about him earlier. He was with the, he was, I believe, our first story of embarrassing stories where he had the restroom issue. We're coming back to that. Not really back to that specific, but him in general. In JV, your schedule is relatively shorter than varsity's, and if you play well enough, or the coach feels that you've done a good job throughout the year, you are able to move up to varsity and continue with the schedule as a varsity player. We were finished completely. Our high school made it into the playoffs. Playoffs? Yeah, that's right, playoffs. But our high school made it into the playoffs, and the head coach really liked the work that I myself and my friend Corey put in, so he moved us as freshmen into the varsity level. The head coach's son, his oldest son, was at the time the North Carolina Male Athlete of the Year. We had a command and lead on our opponents, and we needed someone to kick off. Well, it just so happened that his son was catching cramps at this time, and he needed to play off so that he can, get back in the game. So, coach looks over, he's like, anybody know how to kick? Anybody know how to kick? And Corey, who is just like me, just 20 pounds heavier and a couple inches taller, is like, I kick for JV. And the coach grabs him, is like, get in there, I need you to kick off. And he's like, all right. And so we're all pumped that Corey's getting in. We're like, what? This is unheard of right now. And so he's getting into a big game for us. This is us as a freshman looking up to the varsity players. We're like, this is crazy, Corey's getting in. And so he gets ready to kick off. We line up. We have 5 on one side, 5 on the other. We do the traditional kickoff. And Corey raises his hand up, drops it down because he's ready to go, signaling to everyone, get ready. He starts lining up. He does 1, 2, 3, and it looks like slow motion because it's just like, yo, that's my boy. He kicks the ball. Well, the trajectory doesn't really match what his foot does. He somehow accidentally misses and hits the ball with the side of his foot, creating a sideways pattern, straight sideways, on like it's an onside kick. Again, guys, this is not deliberate. This is all an accident. Kick bounces a couple times, hits a guy right in the face, bounces off of his face. Ball's live, ball is free, ball is able to be played by both sides. Our team goes and recovers it on the end. We are going nuts on the sideline because we got the ball back and we're about to score again. Corey, on the other hand, comes to the sideline crying, like hyperventilating, crying. Because he's like, oh my God, he's going to be so mad at me. The coach is going to be so mad at me. And we're like, no, dude, no, we got the ball back. We're good. He didn't even have time to look on the field and see who had the ball. He was so scared of what he did that the coach would come over and yell at him. That was not the case. We got the ball back. We ended up winning that game. And everybody came over and congratulated Corey, and he's still hyperventilating. But by the time it sinks in, he's like, yeah, I did it, yeah. So that's something we still look back to today, where he freaks out over about missing the kick. But it all generally worked out in the good. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for the embarrassing stories, part 1 of high school football. I have a lot more coming up, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm glad to bring back embarrassing stories. Anyway, if you did, leave a like, comment if you want, and subscribe if you haven't, guys. It means a lot to me that you are watching my videos. Also, check in the description below for my Twitter account as well as my YouTube channel. And I hope you guys enjoyed those videos as well. With that being said, I hope you have a wonderful night.